Today, we're doing something a little different. Instead of a deep dive into Blender nodes or Premiere shortcuts, I'm going to walk you through a case study of, well, a complete failure, a creative breakdown. You all know the struggle, the creative block, the blank canvas staring back at you. Well, a few months ago, I was in it. Hard. I'd been trying to animate a simple walk cycle for a character, a little stylized robot, for a week, and everything I did just looked wrong. Uncanny. I was ready to scrap the whole thing and start over, which is why I started looking for pre-made assets. That's how I found the asset. Mark types on his keyboard. The screen shows a generic asset marketplace website, like Turbo Squid or Sketchfab. The UI is a bit dated. I was on this old niche forum, Polycount Echoes. I think it was called, where people swap abandoned projects and obscure models. Most of it's junk, but sometimes you find a gem. I found a thread titled The Blank Walk. No images, no description, just a.zip file and a single cryptic comment. Take it if you dare. Don't look at the textures. Naturally, I downloaded it. The scene transitions to a recording of Mark's screen, showing Blender open. He's navigating folders. Mark voiceover. I unzip the file, expecting a broken mesh or a simple, standard human figure. What I got was him. He imports the file. A model appears. It's a humanoid figure, but terrifying. It has no face, just smooth, pale, fleshy material where features should be. Its arms are too long, and its torso is emaciated. It wears tattered, gray rags. Mark, this is what I'm calling the Faceless Walker. It was disturbing, but the animation data, that's what mattered, and the walk cycle. He presses play on the animation timeline. The figure moves. Its walk is slow, deliberate, and deeply wrong. It has a slight rhythmic hitch, a stutter. It feels less like a biological being and more like a marionette being pulled by invisible, hostile strings. It stares straight ahead at the virtual camera. Look at that. It's perfectly smooth, yet completely wrong. No natural weight shift. No center of gravity. It just glides. And the way it just focuses on the camera, even without eyes, it felt like it was noticing me. The scene cuts back to Mark at his desk, looking genuinely unsettled. Against my better judgment, I decided to use it as a reference. I thought if I could just copy the timing of that eerie glide into my little robot, it would create the perfect creepy effect I wanted. But that's when things got weird. Step 1 of this tutorial. Guys, know your assets. I didn't. The screen recording shows Mark trying to use standard Blender tools on the Faceless Walker. He tries to delete the mesh, but the software freezes. He tries to move it, and it snaps back. He tries to check the textures. Mark voiceover. The model didn't have textures. It had something else. In the UV editor, where you'd normally see a 2D map of colors and shadows, there was just noise, static. But when I zoomed in, he zooms into the UV map. The static begins to resolve, not into pixels, but into tiny, densely packed faces. Distorted, screaming, crying faces. Thousands of them. Look at that. It was like a collage of agony. I thought it was just some extreme, stylistic displacement map technique I'd never seen before. A shader error. So I ignored it. Rule 2. If the textures scream, maybe don't use the asset. He laughs nervously. The scene transitions. It's now night in the studio. The only light comes from the glowing computer monitors. Mark voiceover. I started the render. It was a 10-second loop. Simple, but the PC was struggling. My RTX 4090 sounded like a jet engine. The CPU was pinned. It was like the computer was trying to process an infinite amount of data. And then, the rendering screen, it didn't look right. The screen shows a render progress window. The small preview image isn't showing a clear 3D model. Instead, it's a chaotic, shifting mass of digital artificing. Glitches flicker across the image. The model's faceless head seems to be splitting open. Mark voiceover. The geometry was corrupting. The polygons were stretching into infinity. And in the blackness between the artifacts, I swear I saw something moving. The studio lights suddenly flicker and dim. Mark stops his voiceover. He sits silently at his desk, staring at the screen. We hear only the loud, frantic hum of computer fans. Mark, whispering. Then I heard it, not through my headphones. Through the air, a faint, wet, scraping sound echoes in the room, like dry bone dragging over concrete. It gets louder. A rhythm forms. Scrape, drag, scrape, drag. It was the walk cycle. Mark slowly turns his head toward the dark corner of his studio, near the acoustic panels. And then the monitors started. They weren't just showing a glitch. They were showing me. The screens flicker. We see a mirror image of the studio. But something is wrong. In the reflection behind Mark, standing in the shadow corner, is the Faceless Walker. It's full scale, and it's looking right at him. The asset wasn't just in the scene. It was in the system. And it was trying to render itself into my reality. The reflection of the Faceless Walker on the monitor starts to move. It takes one slow, scraping step forward. The monitor started to glitch violently, casting, pulsing, strobing light across the dark room, scrambling, frantically hitting keys on his keyboard. Control plus Alt plus Del. Shut down. Kill process. He shouts at the screen. Mark voiceover. Strained. Hurried, I tried everything. I couldn't stop the render. The power button on the tower didn't work. The computer was alive with it, and it was getting closer. He points to the monitors. In the reflection, the figure is now standing directly behind his chair. Its smooth, flesh mask head is leaning forward, peering over his shoulder. The scraping sound is deafening. The digital corruption on the screen is total, a swirling, faceless vortex. The tutorial here, guys, is simple. Know when to cut the power. He lunges under his desk. We hear him grope for the power strip, and then, click, everything goes pitch black. The studio is silent. He slowly clicks on a small flashlight, sweeping the beam across the studio. The dark corners are empty. The monitors are dead black slabs. The room is still. I spent the next 4 hours ripping the hard drive out and drilling holes through it. I bought a whole new system the next day. I never found that form again. The link was dead. It was as if it never existed. Back at the desk, the studio lights are on again, but he looks exhausted and jittery. The computer behind him is a different model. So, yeah, that's why there's no tutorial today on how I animated that creepy robot. And that's why I don't use assets I find on old, dead forums anymore. Be careful what you download, guys. Some files, they don't want to be animated. They want to animate you.